What's up? How you guys doing? Let's see if I can. There we go. Hello. It's weird using this layout leading up to the other to Leoluch's presentation. We'll be using this one instead, and then we'll transition into the correct one. Anyways, hello. You can hang out with me for maybe like 50 minutes, and then we'll start the next the actual presentation. My hair's looking peak today, dude. Thank you very much. Maybe it's just because I shaved. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see here. Let me tune the music down here. Yeah. Martin, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Let's see. Yo. I don't know if I will need the captions, but let's try. Hope you guys are good. You having a good week so far? Just making sure everything is working. Okay. All right. So what we're going to be doing until the presentation from Leoluch starts is we're just going to kind of look at like where Audit is currently, the Audit 13 community project or challenge as we call it. It's been going for a while now, much longer than we anticipated. But I think given the complexity that we're pushing for now, I think it makes sense. And just switch over to where are we at here? Desktop focus. There we go. Okay. So I think let's let me mute the thing for me. I'm still listening to the stream intro music, but yeah. So here we are in the project. Let's see if frame rate will be friendly with us. And let's see if we can get some sounds. DinCon Thursday. Oh, it's becoming a name. Okay, yeah. So there's a good evening. Jazz, what's up? How you doing? It's good to see you. Yeah, so let's just I'll just press play from here and we can just kind of talk through all the stuff that's been going on and like where we're at with stuff. So we do get a menu now. I think I'll leave the UI up just because frame rate will be a little better because I'm streaming and then I think my monitor is rendering this at 4K and yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on. But yeah, we have Adam's set up all the settings, which is kind of crazy that there's even stuff like this here. Yeah. Let me know if you can't hear stuff, but I think you should be all right, at least from what I'm seeing.
Employee 31612 was unable to complete the audit. Thank you for coming in, employee 31646.
So yeah, so we did a pretty heavy pass on the garage and just tried to add the details that we were discussing in the little strike team meeting that we've been having. We're having those every Monday. If you want to tune into those, you can. And then you just, yeah, Mondays at 8, we've been having about an hour long, maybe an hour, 15-minute call where we kind of go through the area that we've picked and just kind of work through all of the tasks that are on us that we've identified. What's up, Hulse? Good to see you. Identify all the things that either we've worked on or that is maybe being missed, and then we can look at those a little bit closer and get them added to the list if we think it's worth it, right? And we've got priorities on all that stuff as well. But yeah, there's some cool. Man, I really want to grab these cans and just throw them. Some Half-Life style stuff. So some sounds are in. You can hear like button presses and oh, I'm scared. That didn't happen earlier. Oh my god, dangerous. Presentation issues. Look, there's another door. Oh my god, I'm scared. Do you go through that? You get diced in half when you try.
Welcome to Site Aegis.
Oh, nice. You still have to clock in
All
text here.
personnel must clock in at the reception desk at the start of their shift.
Oh, we have a little card and a thumb. Horror game moment, yeah. Oh, nice. So we have the on-screen task updates as well, which is pretty cool. And I think we don't have the audio set up for the speakers, so they're going to be a little quiet with voiceover in this area. But essentially, you're being told to go to this the break room and grab the
All staff must maintain protocol and carry
clipboard.
their level 1 keycard at all times.
Oh, we got a voice in here.
Misplaced keycards should be reported to the control room immediately.
But yeah, this is crazy. I didn't check if the textures were going to load, because sometimes the textures black out when you're transitioning between, or when you're opening up the project for the first time. I'm not sure why that is. You can see we haven't touched this space in a while. I think there's actually no texture on the ground right now. Oh, nice. Here's our little shimmer.
Protective gear is mandatory while auditing and handling SCPs.
Nice, Jasmine. One game at a time is definitely enough. I get it. For sure.
To initiate the audit, please proceed to the control room for facility activation.
So one thing we'll have to figure out is like when we're in this down state in the hallway, is you can see we're getting a little bit of the ray tracing shimmer going on. We'll just have to see how that progresses as we start taking our pass in here, because like maybe that'll go away once we get a little bit more of a general material pass on everything in here. Yeah, we're supposed to turn the power onto this, and that doesn't work until you have your key card. I think it says, yeah, it says access point on there. Maybe on that screen we should say like key card required. But yeah, we pick this up and then turn that on. We'll probably need a sound for the
advised to collect relevant SCP files to assist their audit.
hearing the
Required SCP data can be found in warehouse 1.
lights pop on. I think will be a good sound. Yeah, the plastic version, which is for anyone who's not on the project, the plastic version is plastic SCM. This is our source control, like perforce and whatnot. Most people are working on the Git project, which has multiple branches based on the department that you're part of. So if you're doing material changes, you're on the material branch. And if you're on the prop branch, that's where you're doing all your prop stuff. And then all the content needs to get migrated between those. And then occasionally we pull content from Git into Plastic. It's a dance for sure. And there are scenarios where someone will make a change on the material branch to a prop. Someone will make a change in the prop branch to the same prop. And then when we try and merge them, there's a conflict. And we have to figure out which one is the one we should be using. Hopefully no work gets lost on that stuff. So, but we've had to forfeit a few times. We have the temp music on that prop in the other room. So we'll probably only go to the catalog room because this is essentially our focus before was the garage. And then the next place we picked was the catalog. And you can see it's a bit dark in here. But when we come in, there's a post-process volume that's
known as the catalog, contains research and information on currently recorded SCPs.
Yeah, so you can see we're getting pretty far in this area now. Like a lot of the layout has been adapted and changed to try and like make the flow of the space feel better. You can't reserve files. So Jasmine, that's a really good question because so on Git, without, I guess you would have to have the pay option. I don't even think even then. I don't think that you can do that. I think files do not get like locked when you grab them. You actually don't even check any files out. When you start making changes, it just registers the change, and then you go to the Git application and then just submit the files that have been changed. And you can submit files on things that other people have changed that haven't submitted yet. So it gets real dicey. You can see like on the top right here, we've got the levels. So we've got like different levels for gameplay and lighting. And yeah, it's lots of communication to just make sure that we have as few issues as possible. Because I mean, if we're all human, right? It's gonna happen. And I think as we've like formed the strike team and everyone's pushing in one area, you've got like in this area, I think directly is maybe like 6 or 7 people all at once doing different things. And it's just making sure that like based off the tasks, you know that you won't overlap with someone. And if you're like, hey, I'm going to check out, like right now we're talking about propping this level or this area between 2 people. So it's how do you coordinate that? Do we make 2 separate branches to like have you be able to prop on branch 1 and the other person prop on branch 2? Or are the time zones different between the people? So you just shout in the chat, hey, I'm going to work on this layer. Hey, I've submitted my changes. So they know just like through that communication that there isn't anything that could be overwritten or something like that. Too crazy. Yeah, so there's some cool ideas that are forming. You can see the pivot on the computers changed. So the computers are now offset like in the wrong position. So we'll just need to update the positioning of those. But it's pretty low priority versus like getting the feeling of the space in. Yeah, so this space is the catalog. And I think in the voiceover, which I don't think has captions yet, the catalog is storing all of the stuff associated with, I need to go back over here. This is another game-breaking issue that I'll highlight so that you understand why it's an issue. But this location stores all of the objects that were near an SCP. So for anyone who doesn't know what an SCP is, it's like an object that has properties tied to it that, like maybe it's a chair, and if you sit in that chair, it teleports you to a random location on the planet, right? And maybe it's not just planet Earth, maybe it's like the moon or or some other planet. It's just going to teleport you randomly. So there's no oxygen there. You're kind of toast, right? Or you're underwater at the bottom of the ocean. So they discover that this chair does this thing, and they're like, okay, we're going to collect this chair and protect the people from that chair. So they bring those objects to this place. But that chair, maybe that chair was in like a I don't know, a dining room, right? So you end up taking that entire room and all of the other stuff, like the cutlery or like the other objects that are other chairs. Maybe the other chairs have this too, so that there's like testing that needs to be done to confirm that it's just this one chair. Or something happens that causes an explosion and all the little bits and pieces of wood of that chair are now reactive. That wouldn't go in here, right? But the idea is that all of these little objects that are around an SCP that was captured and brought here, or secured, I should say, those would be stored in this location and cataloged and made sure to be tracked. Now, the game-breaking issue that I'm talking about right now is you can go through here and just continue in. And you, let's see, do you know what you need to do? So you need to find the code ledger, which we don't tell you where it is. It's definitely SCP-inspired control. But there's a lot of SCP stuff. You should read up on SCP in general. It's quite interesting. It's like a whole world that's been built around that stuff. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, so we need to find this code ledger, but we don't really tell you where that's at. So we kind of need a way to stop you from coming in here until you get the code ledger. Or we give it to you the moment you walk in. Maybe we don't even have that objective, find the code ledger. But for now, the idea is that you come in and it's right here and you pick it up. If you don't catch this, or lighting wise, because the light's on it, you won't see the shimmer. Maybe you'll see the UI marker. But the other idea is to have a button that you press that opens this gate. And that button press has the code ledger next to it. So you press a button. So basically it forces you to get near the ledger. So yeah, I'm not sure if that would work or not, but you have to try it to know, right? Maybe it'll be clear to most people. And if not, then you're kind of screwed, right? It's kind of why we wanted the key card required to pull the lever, because if you pull the lever to turn the lights on in the access point, the big hallway before, if you pull the lever and it just works, you might leave without ever grabbing the key card and then realize once you're down the hall that you need the key card. So here's the ledger. The ledger is like a code system following symbols that are also derived from SCP. I'll call it SCP culture because it's like it's this whole thing, right? So we have these symbols, and the idea is that you need to collect the research documents. But you're like, okay, well, what research documents? Audit procedure, welcome to SCP. So this is another thing where it's like, we have a bit of a hole that we need to solve. How do we know which research to collect? Which maybe, I don't think it tells you right now. Maybe I'm just missing it because I'm not used to the flow. We need to add that? Okay, yeah. So Adam says we have not done that. Okay, so that's something to add to the list, right? There's also some cool sounds we got for the floor and stuff, but we don't have that in here yet. There's a lot of like crazy learning that's going on in all of the stuff we're doing. Like night vision, for example, is going pretty crazy on like pushing material audio or just audio in general. So like the speakers that you're hearing the voiceover through, or the sound of walking on the floor. Like I didn't know about or understand physical materials before, but physical materials is where you connect the sound to materials. And so you should be able to hear like the sound of this versus this. And then it was highlighted right before the stream that decals have their own right? So what's happening is the blueprint of the character is raycasting to check the surface it's on, to trigger the sounds of footsteps that match the sound type of the physical material below you when you raycast against it. Now, if you raycast against this decal, it's going to hit the decal, not the concrete, right? So you'll trigger whatever the physical material is for the decal. Now, as far as I understand, you can disable the collision type on this decal or on any object, and then it'll be ignored. You set it to ignore, not disable, and it should be ignored during the raycast check. So the raycast will go straight through the decal and then hit the surface below it. So it's kind of the idea for how that works. So yeah, so these shelves, basically the idea would be that you need to look at the code ledger and then figure out the objects or the files that you're supposed to, like these research documents, the 3 that you're supposed to grab. You're supposed to be able to know what they are somewhere either in here, or I guess it would be in here. And then you would use this to figure out like where they are. Now, you can interact with these and then shift them to the side. They feel a bit slow to me right now. There's also some fudging I'll show here in a second that you can do on the puzzle. Yeah, we're debating as part of the ledger or as the... Oh, you mean like on the actual... the ledger paper? I mean, I guess you could put it here as like written on like a sticky note or like scribbled on the paper, because then you don't have to look 2 places, right? I think that makes sense. But yeah, so these move a bit slow, so this can be a little tedious, but it's not too bad. And you'll see that there's a box here, and this is one of the boxes to interact with. Now, the fudging is, this can be like all the way over, right? The idea is that you'd want to move these to get them out of the way in order to access the ones you're looking for. So it's a bit of a puzzle. And when you look at it, you can actually interact with it through the shelving. So we definitely need to put props on this, but then we also probably need to make it not possible to see the interaction or interact with it until it's actually exposed to us, which I think they're tedious in real life as well. Have you moved one before? One of these catalog shelves? Oh, dude, there's like a mannequin guy here. Look at that dude, just chilling. So you interact with this, and then you'll get the relic information, right? Which is this phone. Your mom worked at a library and had loads of these? Oh, dude, crazy. That's cool. I'm curious what they sounded like when they move, because we're going to need a sound for when they shift. Yeah, so looking at this, you get some text, some information that tells you about what was going on with the relic that you've collected, this document. So this is one of the relics that you're going to go and audit, right? Yeah, and there's a bunch of text here, which is kind of cool. Actually, stuff that you can read and kind of make sense of. Would be interesting, Adam, if when you move the mouse around, that it kind of like sways the camera a bit so you can see the text down at the bottom edge. But that's way more of a small, probably not important detail. It's more of like a feeling, right? Not required, really. That's very polished. We could ship without that, if you want to say it like that. But yeah, it feels like you would, and then maybe even, no, I'm not even going to say it. I'm like, yeah, I won't say it. So we got that one. We need to find 2 more. And I think if we look at the tasks, yeah, we've got 1 of 3. And I'll continue to cheat here and just look through and see. This is the other reason you're going to want a bunch of them, or a bunch of props in these shelves. It's just so that you can't... Oh, I'm going to read chat here. So he's... Adam in chat is saying, or Piran, the Smith, I was thinking that instead of showing the clipboard, we just pick it up like we do with the punch card. So you could do the whole twist of the wrist. Like we do the punch card. Oh, dang, that's kind of cool. I mean, if you're up for it, go for it. I see what you're saying. Just in the hand, yeah. So I'm just gonna move these around. These ones feel like they move faster. That's strange. Wait, hang on. Weird. The small one does less mass? Question mark. And I'll just grab this one. Yeah. Statue of Maru. Awesome. But yeah, you can see the storage location as well and all the scribed information. Got that one. And then we need to locate the other one, which I think is just over here. But yeah, there's the smaller things like the shelves not lining up. Feels a bit strange. Or like the gap between them is not flush. That's not Maru, that's an imposter. It's true. Oh, Maru heard me say his name. He's like scratching at the door right now. I don't know if you can hear him. But, yeah, let me... Sorry. Okay, so we'll interact with this one. So the third one that you interact with will give you the sticky note, which will have the code to the isolation chamber. We put your warehouse 2 key in the isolation chamber, which is strange because I'm like, why would they do that? We probably need to come up with a better reasoning behind why it's in there. So-and-so forgot their key in the chamber or something, right? And the code is 11234 for now. That text on the paper, also the sticky note, we can probably write that out and just take a photo. It'll look so much more natural. Oh, dude, you poor guy. You probably sat in that chair and got teleported directly on top of the... Ugh, I can barely squeeze through there. But yeah, there's some nice props these guys have been doing. Everyone's putting in amazing work and just kind of... Oh, nice. I need to delete that under there. There's really, really nice progress happening in here. Yeah, and so let's see here. So we got this panel here. So we'll interact with this. Right now it's like floating on glass. We probably just need to put some like metal design behind it that it's mounted to, and that'll help logically just kind of make it make sense at a glance, right? So we press E on this. How do you... Dude, I always forget how you exit out of this. If you need to back out of this. Was it tab? Caps lock for now, right. There we go. So what's really cool about this, I don't know if it'll work here, but if you enter it from this side, the camera is on this direction. But if you enter it from this side, yeah, it comes in from the other angle. So there's 2 vectors. It's pretty genius. I'm like, is that how it actually... Is that how we usually would do something like that? It's pretty cool. So if you interact with this and then you put in the code, that should open up. Get our nice blockout piece to slide out of the way. Super thick glass. And then we get into this room, which the table for this looks really cool. We got to get that one in next because it's just like detail-wise, it looks awesome. And then propping in here is going to be something to make sense of. Yeah, these lights just got in as well. These look pretty cool. Some really nice details generally. And I think right now these lights are just an emissive material. Is this an evil table? So the idea with this room is if you think something weird is going on with a object, they bring it in here and isolate it. And then they'll decide what to do with it. So there's a table here with lights and stuff, and the table is just essentially for documents and filing work focused around whatever is in this room. So there could probably be some other objects in here. Maybe a table. There is an SCP that is a banana that duplicates itself. I don't know if it's only when you eat it, but basically there's people that eat the banana and then the banana duplicates inside of them and then kills them, turning them into a bunch of bananas. Okay, so I picked up the key card. And the duplicate duplicates itself. Yeah, infinite banana glitch for sure. So now we have that key card, and then we can continue on to the next space. Let me see if I can go over there. It's 8:32. Let me see if I can go over there. We got to swap those buttons out. Those buttons are all built already as well. So the holy darkness. Oh, there we go. It's a very slow door. And then we have this space. And then the 3 SCPs that we picked up, or relics rather. Oops, I always hit tab to go back out instead of escape. We need to locate these, and you can see they have a storage location. So when you see the storage location, then you can start looking at the shelves and make sense of like where they're at. For now, I think there's one teleporting, no? There it is. I just saw it. So there'll be a table here, and you're supposed to put the SCP in that box. There, it's the phone. This is the phone. So you pick up the phone, and then you put it in here, and then you've collected that SCP. But figuring out how it moves around and where it's going and stuff is something that we'll polish out and make look awesome. But yeah. Do you still have mannequins on the right? I think so. Talking about these guys. Like, we haven't touched this area in a long time, right? So none of this is polished. But the idea is that you rotate these statues to have them look at this box. As far as I understand, we're making... I still don't know what they do. That's a problem for later, Giacomo. But basically, there's a scroll in there that has an ego. So if you get all the statues to look at it, then it's pleased, and then you can, yeah. You stop it from ending the world. I think is it in here? This one. Large hardbound book with leather bindings. The paper inside resembles vellum and is written upon in black ink. The contents of the book consist entirely of series of entries that describe apocalyptic events, which are not always, and then redacted, class end of the world scenarios, but invariably deal with the extinction of humanity. The entries are arranged in chronological order. Many of the entries describe apocalypses caused or facilitated by objects that are or were in Foundation custody. Foundation is the SCP group, SCP Foundation, and or are of paranormal nature. The predicted apocalyptic event will only set in motion if one were to open the book. Each prediction is usually followed by a riddle. Solving the riddle will nullify the apocalyptic event from taking place. So, that's out of date. That's good to know, Pulse. So now we know. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I can probably, if I exit out of this, after you solve the puzzles in this area, which are the 3, we've come a long way. It's pretty wild. I'm extremely proud, like proud Empire Dad or whatever you want to call it. I think it's really cool what you guys have been doing. But yeah, so you'll solve that, and then we'll make our way through here. You'll have to find out how to get through this. Lighting wise, it looks crazier but you actually can't go past this point here. So everything back here will probably subdue lighting wise so that you don't feel like what the hell, where am I type of thing. Then you'll come through here, you'll go down this elevator, and once you get to the very, very bottom, you'll exit out here. And going inside of this cube is your goal. There's a thing that you need to interact with inside. You set up some buttons and whatnot, and then you'll go inside there. But yeah, it's taken some time for sure, but I think we've been able to juggle it pretty well at this point, and now that we're doing the strike team style, it's working much better. So yeah, some people can jump on and then jump off, and it's kind of a bit of back and forth and trying to figure out how we do all that stuff. But it's come a long way. It's really exciting. I don't know if you guys have other questions about any of the stuff that we've been looking at. We have maybe like 10, 15 minutes. You can see here as well, we've got we go here and look at static meshes. It's crazy. We have some new cardboard boxes that got made, which sounds strange to be excited about, but cardboard boxes look freaking dope. Yeah, I think it's nice just because of the roughness variation. You know me. Swarthmore, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, we're looking at our servers like a community project that we've been working on, community challenge. And then from there, we're going to have Leoluch. I think it's Sergei Leoluch Panin, and he'll be showing us and walking us through a castle he's been building using Nanite. If you haven't seen that castle, it's freaking wild. So he's going to talk a lot about the workflows and all that stuff, and how he's gotten there. I say they. It's just one person. Dude, it's crazy, Droppy. But yeah, there's a ton of assets. Just like we've been tracking them through Notion and just trying to make it easier to see who has what. If there's a prop that you want to work on, like that's the thing is like working on Audit 13, this project, doesn't require you to know the entire thing if you wanted to just jump in and build like a single prop. It's like we need someone to build, for example, a telephone that sits on like office tables. We didn't even look at the office area. That's another area we'll do. After we're done with this place, we'll be looking at this warehouse. And then from this one, I imagine we'd probably want to do this one because it's high priority as far as the gameplay flow goes. But there's a whole office area, right? And making sense of this space. Oh, dude, the boxes are used here. That's cool. Making sense of this space, and like there's a bathroom. There's like desks, which we have lots of characters that have been written with kind of personality and whatnot. And you can prop their desks to look like their personality. And we can put little nameplates on there and stuff. And we've got a whiteboard that right now is blank, but we have a bunch of papers and stuff that we can put on it. So it's really about just getting in a lot of propping paths, essentially. Yeah, just a few. Funky, what's up? How you doing? But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in here. See this space? Like what's going on here? What is this? I didn't know this existed. I wonder if Chris did that. The lighting, the person doing most of the lighting right now. This is very ominous. Mysterious indeed. Some Easter egg madness. But yeah, there's a closet here. Maintenance closet. So there's all these spaces. Maybe we don't need these. Maybe we have enough stuff that we should just hide stuff in it. But there's actually no reason for you to go over here other than if you wanted to know more about the characters, right? So it's something we'll have to think about as we try and close the project up. Yeah, freaking crazy. Are separate locations made by the community as well, and not just the prop? So the community is largely building all of this. There's all types of stuff. You guys are doing essentially everything, and I'm just supporting and helping like coordinate with you to make it happen. Dude, even these cameras, they like look at you when you go room to room, which is kind of wild. But yeah, place is called Aegis. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm excited about it. Some people have made a ton of props, and some people have made like one prop. What's that? Aegis is not in Git. I believe it, man. You're like, wait, what? I can move it over for you. Yeah. So just if anyone's curious, let's go to entry. I think the place is called entry. If we go, is it set dressing? Is this in set dressing? No. What is this in? Structure? No, this should be in Git, no? Maybe it got written over. Maybe it's Office. Office set dressing structure? No. This is one thing I'm not sure about with Unreal. Like, how would you, if you don't know which one this is in, what is the fastest way to figure that out? To just start hiding the layers? Because that seems a little wild. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's in. No, it's not in set dressing. Well, maybe it's in entry. Set dressing. No. Structure? No. What? I'm confused. Garage entry. Entry elevator. Control room. Garage. Maybe it's control room. Oh, this is all gameplay. What am I doing? Set dressing. Access point. Catalog. Control room. Doctor. Omega. Entry. Garage. Office. 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 You see a lot of people working in office. I just turned off warehouse too. Nothing. Nothing. Garage. Office. No. Catalog. Dude, what? That's crazy. I bet it's up here. I bet it's in persistent level. No. How do you, what? Okay, here, we do it like this. Aegis. Sign, solid. Dude, what? I'm so confused. You can't select the asset if the level that it's in is locked. So if let's just unlock everything, yeah? There. Is it in lighting? Dude, that'd be freaking crazy. No? It's in gameplay. What? Aegis logo. Aegis logo. Gameplay office. Whoa. Well, that might be why you don't have it, Jack. At the bottom, you can see, are you kidding me? What do you mean at the bottom? Selected actor. Oh. I understand. XP pen tablets. How do you like them? They're pretty good. I mean, they're a tablet. I use a Huion. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Huion. Learning on my expense. But yeah, I guess it's in Gameplay Office. That's wild. And if we haven't transferred the Gameplay Office level to Git in a while, then you just won't see it. Let's see here. Okay. Dude, crazy. Well, we can add that sign. Served you very well. Yeah, I bought the I don't know what this one is. The 32 4K or the 24 4K, like a year ago, 2 years ago. You were curious because you have the XP Pen panel here on Twitch. Yes, I have that one as well. That one I got to like show you guys a while back. I think I have a YouTube video on it as well. But that one's dope. It's good. I think the only reason I upgraded is because with my main monitor being 4K, I wanted the tablet to be 4K so I could mirror them when I want to write on the tablet, but then have you see it in the stream on the main screen. So, yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to go check on Sergei and see if he's all good and make sure that the stream will work for him. Having a 1080p tablet is rough currently. I mean, 1080p is not too bad, but you can't mirror a 4K and a 10. Like I'd have to make the monitor 1080 as well, right? So that was the problem I was running into. Okay, I will be right back, and we'll get Sergei all set up, make sure he's all good to go, and then we'll see you in a moment. Let me see if I can transition. Okay, to the other one. World, what's up? How you doing? Okay, I'll see you guys in 12-ish minutes, maybe a little sooner, depending on if he wants to just jump in. Okay, be right back. Okay, so here we are. We've got Sergei Leoluch Panin. I have no idea if I'm saying that correctly, but yeah, you're going to be showing us the scene you've been working on, which is hilarious because it comes from our mentorship we had like 8 years ago or whatever. But I'll let you talk and show us what's going on.
Yeah, if you think like your mentorship can be long, you cannot compare like it to mine, right? Going to the scene after 8 years, like that's coming back.
Yeah. Oh man.
So
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So today we'll talk. I maybe will show the whole scene a bit later, but because we're talking about Nanite today, it will be more about like just this castle. But we'll not be talking about castle. We'll be talking about different like pipelines, approaches, and yeah. So this project, it's pretty funny. It was done with Dynasty 8 years ago as a mentorship when they started working. So I'm working for almost like 10 years, and I was jumping from mobile to PC. And I decided, okay, I like medieval stuff, and Nanite and medieval is it's perfect combination. So I decided, okay, I want to do something very, very hardcore in Nanite. And for last 2 years, I'm already doing this. This is only like part because I have also like a house. Maybe you have seen it. And I push this to the castle. And as you see, I will not turn on stat FPS, but you see, even like going pretty heavy on Nanite, you see it's still working pretty good. Even it's not done, shaders are pretty not the most simple one. And what I'll be talking today, it will be based on some of my experience on Saros project and some experience which I'm doing myself because I'm doing pretty a lot of R&D in my spare time. So yeah, it will be pretty exciting. And I think we can start jumping to slides. So my talk today is building performance-ready environments with Nanite, or why we messed up. And it's very important second part of this statement. So a little bit about me. My name is Sergei Panin. I'm working for 10 years, kinda, a little bit less maybe, but kinda. Right now I'm in London, in Rockcity. Before that, I was for last 8 years, I was in Finland, and I worked on Alan Wake 2, Crossfire, and in Housemarque, I was responsible for a lot of stuff on Saros, which is exclusive game on PlayStation. And yesterday it was Eclipse, so you should check the game. It's about Eclipse, and Sun is Forever. If you aware or not, you can check. And in my spare time, I'm doing pretty a lot of teaching and educational content, and a lot of R&D content, because nowadays to understand how to do something, you need to figure out yourself. So I'm not technical artist, and I definitely not not efficient and not smart enough as a lot of technical artists. So I'm still environment artist, but I'm still checking a lot of profiling, how to work, like how it's affecting the pipeline, because I was person responsible for pipeline for a lot of time. So what we will be talking today, I also will try not to rush too much because I can be a little bit too fast. So we will take a look on legacy workflow in Unreal and legacy performance issues. So why, like, what was like, because there are a lot of people saying like Nanite is bad, or which is not true. It's there are a lot of reasons why Unreal games for a lot of times was suffering through its performance. And we need to understand what was good in old pipeline and why it was light and easy for environment artists. And only after that we can understand what Nanite changed and how it's affecting your pipeline. So today I will be talking not only how to do content, but I will be giving you a lot of reasoning for what we're doing, etc. So after this introduction talk, we'll see how long it will take. I'm planning like it will be like maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20, maybe 30. I don't know. I will speed up in the worst case. We'll go to demo, and demo will be based. So I will start showing stuff, and in one moment I will just stop sharing stuff because it's impossible to fit everything in our lecture. And then we'll do some conclusion, and we'll have Q&A. So legacy render workflow. So everybody who is old, come to me. Let's think about Unreal 4. So what was good with Unreal 4 and what was not good? So if you remember old games on Unreal, we have been very bound to draw calls because every mesh, every material you place in the mesh, if you have a lot of meshes for Unreal, automatically Unreal not instancing stuff, a lot of draw calls. You start doing unique vertex painting. Like a lot of people are saying, like, yeah, vertex painting is awesome. Like vertex painting was breaking like instances in Unreal in all times. So it's not that great as a lot of people think about it. So a lot of things which were missing from old Unreal 4, performance-wise, they're not good. And that's what we need to understand. It still was easy to do, but because of that, we have been like really, really CPU bound. So you cannot spam a lot of meshes. And that's why we have been merging stuff. But we had parallax occlusion, we had tessellation. Merging modules wasn't really a problem. Like modules are super, super light. So when you merge stuff, it's not a problem. But when you start merging stuff, so why we use modularity in general? Like we're using modularity because we want to work faster and we have like small meshes. But what's the difference between 4-meter wall and 20-meter wall? If it's like a couple of polygons, like nothing. But it was one big thing, and then it was occlusion related thing. So old Unreal had not the smartest occlusion. So for example, if Unreal have seen 1 pixel of a mesh, it still was rendering the whole mesh. And that's why when you're going with big meshes in Unreal, and we're talking right now about Unreal 4, and I'm not sure if you're turning off Nanite, I think occlusion will still work this way. So in Unreal, like if it's not Nanite and you see 1 pixel of a mesh, it's loading the whole mesh, rendering the whole mesh, which is very, very not smart. And like when we went to Nanite, one of big things which Nanite trying to solve, it's like smart occlusion, because old rendering was very, very inefficient. You need to understand this. Like collisions, so breaking your collisions in Unreal was kind of hard. Like everybody was using complex as simple and was not looking at this as a problem. It's a big problem, spoiler. But making collisions in all time was very simple. And later you'll understand why I'm talking about this. And also render, how Unreal Render work, it was related how many meshes, how many materials. A lot of meshes with a lot of different materials, bad. A lot of meshes with one material, still bad, because Unreal do not really instance in it in all time. But still nobody cares because it was easy, and we almost everyone was like, we know how to do stuff. That's very important. Like we have been known that like 200 300 instructions, easy. 2,000 draw calls, maybe 3,000 draw calls, easy. So it was like a hard limit, and that's why it was easy to do Unreal 4 games, and not only Unreal 4, but I'm just talking about Unreal 4 right now. So what changed with Nanite? Like, because we need to take a look on the big picture. Now it's not only about polygons. Polygons are not really matter, because Nanite rendering polygons smart. But what you also need to understand that all system in Unreal 5 right now, they're all working together. Like you can't talk about Nanite only. You're talking about Nanite, Lumen, virtual textures, virtual shadows, and some sampling, TSSR in Unreal. And if you just want, like, I want to use Lumen and I do not want to use Nanite, you screw up. You cannot, because like performance hitting you so hard. Like everything, like in this triangle, and triangle I mean like Nanite, Lumen, virtual textures, virtual shadows. Sorry, virtual textures is optional. They working together very very nice. But when you start in like to use only, like for example, turn off Nanite, Lumen and virtual shadows go into the trash bin. You do not want to use Lumen. You understand that like a lot of old features does not work with Nanite. So, and it was very very hard switch to developers, because it was not one problem to solve, but at least 3 problems to solve. In reality, much more. Also, now we much less CPU bound, with much more GPU driven render. Nanite is GPU driven render, and that's really important because like it's faster. But as I said, with Nanite, also it's not only about like faster. So it's faster. That's why we don't care about Polygon so much. But also it's smarter. Like it's very very important to understand that Nanite, it's not one system, it's 2. It's like this buffer and base pass. And this buffer, it's a buffer to understand what to render. So now we have 2 passes to control. Like you need to understand what you render and how you render. So not because previously, like some people was caring about occlusion, but not really. And now occlusion is very big part of milliseconds which we have in game. Now we have much heavier collision with Nanite, and that's not a lot. Like for me, that was like something what I was not ready, because Nanite creating fallback mesh, and fallback mesh used in a lot of cases in Unreal, and it's pretty heavy. So you can't like visual mesh, Nanite mesh is pretty light, but fallback mesh is not. And it's used, for example, for collision, also for distance field. Like there are a couple of things. So it's causing issues, and like to have problem with memory in old Unreal 4 games, it was kind of hard, except like you have been using maybe heavy physics. But right now it's not. Like if you will start rushing with your content, like you can end with problem with memory, and we're talking about memory, like memory and RAM and hard disk. So there are 2 problems. But we are much less draw call bound now. That's great. So why we messed up? Like, and what I'm talking about, why I'm saying messed up, like why a lot of games on Unreal 5 was releasing in like first 3 years, and it was like not good on performance, because like I just describe everything and everything's awesome. Like if everything's so awesome, why games was so shit? So let's try to answer this one. So first, profiling right now for environment artists very very hard. A lot of things happening on rendering, so which you cannot profile. So in old Unreal, it was like pretty easy to render to profile. Like you just check in draw calls, you just check in material complexity, maybe or maybe fog planes, like maybe lighting complexity. Easy. Right now, Nanite is so smart from rendering perspective that environment artists profiling is useless. Really, like there are so many things that you cannot like easy pinpoint stuff. And if you will talks from Ari from Epic Games, fantastic person, have been working in Housemarque before I joined. Like all his talks are fantastic, but you understand like okay, we're just going to check CPU in like peaks or something. So you need to check everything instantly on pretty heavy rendering, which for environment artists in my case a little bit too much. Because as I said, everything's so smart that to understand the problem, you need to be smarter. And environment artists usually are not about this. And I'm not trying to say that environment art is stupid. It's just like too deep. Like right now, rendering is so deep that you cannot understand easily as an environment artist what's the problem. And that's very, very big problem. And today you will see exactly like problems which I will describe in. Another reason like tooling was not ready. We still do not have like how many years there's been Nanite? 5. Amount of tools which can work with Nanite content are miserably low. Like ZBrush, still not great for a lot of things like heavy meshes, still not great in Painter, still not great in ZBrush, still not great in Blender. Like they're still very hard to work with heavy geometry. Like FBX format is shit. Sorry, I will be pretty rude, but that's exactly what's happening. Like USD format, not there. Like if you have like super heavy mesh, 5 million mesh, like it's not really that heavy, but like good luck, export import 5 million mesh into your pipeline. That's just slow. And that's terrible. Like previously, like when you have 5,000 or 5,000 polygon mesh, like it's fantastic, it's fast, like so easy to work with it. Right now you have like 5 million polygon mesh and it's just not very good in DCC. And yeah, like for environment artists, that was really a problem, and it's still a problem in my opinion. Then another thing like Unreal 5 was changing pretty a lot until 5.4 when we get like mesh painting, lumen 60 frames per second. If I'm wrong, like somebody in chat will fix me, but we got a lot of very important features pretty late. Like 5.4 roughly, it's where we got like the most important stuff. And as I said, in first years with Lumen, it wasn't possible to achieve 60 frames per second until Epic released like 60 frames per second Lumen. It just wasn't possible. Like really, if you and I just said like if you want to do Nanite content, you have to use Lumen because baking content was really hard. So you have to use Lumen, but Lumen was not possible to achieve 60 frames per second. So it was taking pretty big cost. And it was the case until 5.3, I would say roughly. I don't remember exactly when they released. So now I hope you understand the context. So why it was so hard to switch properly to Unreal 5. And big thumbs up to everyone who released games on Unreal 5, 5.1, 5.2. I like, you're heroes. Like, yeah. So now let's go to what we need to understand. And as I said, there are two things with Nanite rendering. One is visbuffer, and another one is base pass. So base pass is when you're rendering materials, and visbuffer when you try to understand what you need to render. Because as I said, that's very important. Previously, Unreal was pretty stupid what you render. Nanite much smarter what it renders. And that's why all the discussion about polygons is pointless, because we're not rendering just polygons, we're rendering pixels, and this buffer it's analyzing the frame to render pixels which we want, not everything. And that's very important. So what this buffer is pretty complex. So what this buffer doing? So this buffer is analyzing the scene, what triangle and with which material to render. So it's checking the scene, seeing the mesh, understand that, okay, this triangle with this material, I need to place it there and render. And there are a couple of rendering happening. So first is like occlusion culling. So if you're not aware, occlusion culling, just imagine like a shadow of mesh. So just imagine you're a spotlight and you're lighting the mesh, and like there is a shadow from the mesh, and this is like occlusion. So you do not need to render what behind this mesh, and you do not render this. But this is like big thing. After that, we understand what primitives we need to render, so what we need to load. Then we need to understand each individual of the same mesh. So you see, Unreal already understands that this is the same mesh. It's not so it's called primitive. And then it's separating everything on clusters. So how Unreal works: analyze frame, load all required meshes, split them on proper instances, split them on clusters, render clusters, shade invisible pixels. Fantastic. So on this point, as you see, I have a picture, but I think it's better to check this in scene, right? So how you can check your thing. So you go to Nanite visualization, and you see there are a lot of things which I mentioned. So first is primitives. So primitives, it's like meshes which we need to load. And for example, yeah, we see that there are like a lot of primitives. Then we have instances, in this case, almost the same. And the most important for us, this is like kind of minor. In some cases, you will see some things, they should be same color. Interesting, why is there not same color? Because maybe I assembled it like this way. So primitives, instances, but for us, the most important is clusters. Give me a second. Oop. I'm confused. Because like on another scene, primitives was rendering properly. Okay, never mind. So clusters. Clusters is the main magic in Nanite. Like Unreal separated, and that's how it's rendering. So for example, when I'm here, like old Unreal will be rendering all mesh what it see. So it's rendering everything. With Nanite, it's rendering only clusters, and this is really, really important. Like you render only what you see. So for example, in this case, it's this piece, and you're like going. So this is, for example, not good clustering. So this is something what I'll need to fix, because you see these clusters are not nice. And this is like for me content which I will need to fix in the future. But when you have something like that, and that's why this rendering so smart. And each cluster, it has like, I don't remember what amount of triangles, 128 or something. So it's like fixed amount of triangles inside this cluster. So as you see, we just have two triangles. And that's what you need to understand. Like Unreal do not render everything like stupidly. Like it's split your mesh into proper triangle, which need to be rendered inside the cluster. So what you need to, for optimizing your content, you need and to optimize this path, what you need to do, you need to avoid what's called overheating, overdraw. Nanite overdraw. So what's happening in overdraw? So overdraw related to this buffer. You see, so why overdraw is a problem? Because I think some people do not understand it. So why this is a problem? So when we have overdraw, Unreal during this buffer cannot understand what should be rendered. Because as I see, we have visual buffer and we have base path. And during this buffer, Unreal right now cannot understand like what should be rendered. So it will end in rendering both of these meshes and clusters, which is not great. So what helping with this? So that's why heavy kit bashing is not good. So for example, and that's what happened with this foliage. But there is some misconceptions about overdraw. Like overdraw, it doesn't mean that it is a problem. It is possible problems. That's very important to understand, because if you have good clusterization and you have good amount of triangles and everything like smoothly happening here, yeah, you will have a little bit of like a little bit more expensive buffer, but in general, in the end, it will be pretty good. So yeah, so mostly what I'm trying to say, optimize your clusters. Like, and how to optimize your clusters, you need to have proper geometry on your mesh. So you see, for example, something not great happening here, so maybe I need to simplify this geometry. Something happening, where was this column? Like this one, right? So something is very fishy happening. So this is like, so when you check in the clusters, like, and it's doing what I'm doing on my castle, like that's pretty good. But some things we see, yeah, something strange happening here. Sometimes it makes sense even to add a little bit of geometry, just to be sure that Unreal doing it properly. So that's how you check your stuff. And if clusters are fine, you're fine, because Unreal will be pretty smart with what to render. Okay. So, and also you will see if you have some non-Nanite mesh. Why? Okay, this is white box. This is fine. But why you're here? So let's go to next pass. So then we're going to base pass. And again, sorry, base pass separated also into stages. And I know this, and you remember I said like Nanite rendering is a little bit complicated. We cannot avoid. So first, Nanite rendering with groups, which called bins, and it's rendering with these bins, and less bins is better. And there are two type of bins, raster bins and shading bins. So raster bins also separated into two parts, hardware and software. Software good for things smaller than pixel, and hardware good for things bigger than pixel. This is related to what we discussed with triangles and everything, because you can say, but because anyone who know how old rendering was working knows that rendering lower than 1 pixel, when triangle smaller than 1 pixel was a problem. It was causing the issues. That's why like long triangles can cause some problems, because it is possible when you're far away and you have like this kind of triangle, like this is for rendering is not good because it's less than 1 pixel. Render do not know what to do, blah blah blah. So Nanite solving it pretty smart way. It has two different passes. So if it's smaller, it's doing one thing. If it's bigger than pixel, it's doing another thing, right? So in this case, when you need to render only pixels, you're rendering only pixel size. And when you need to render, you can use a little bit bigger triangles, you're rendering based on that. And again, this is something what you can check here, raster bins. And you see here, everything is fine because it's almost everything with one color, which is great. What not with one color? For example, this mesh, because it has VPO or simulation, I don't remember. So yeah, this is, or masked. So every special type of shader, like masked, VPO, translucency, all this kind of stuff will be rendering a little bit differently. That's why they're bad. That's why masked affecting your performance. So you see when we check in raster bins, we can see that mostly it's foliage and banner. But for example, on this screen, what we see is that something strange happening like here. You see, like there's a couple of things which rendered with different bin. So not everything is blue. Some things are red. I don't remember if I remember correctly. Hardware is red and software is blue. So I'm not sure, but like this is sus. So when I see this as a blue and it does not have affected like separate material, this is something what I'll need to investigate. And this view, we can check shading bins, not shading bins. Where are you? Because maybe I need to write profile command. I was sure it should be. I'm confused. Oh, raster mode. Okay. Yeah, raster mode. No, it's raster bins. Okay, so it's time to write secret commands. Because not all commands in Unreal Nanite Advanced Boop. So I wanted to mention this later, but some of the Nanite commands you can find only here. So by default, you cannot see some things which you need to profiling, which is fun. Yes, that's what I wanted to check. So you see, so when we're going closer, it's switching to another rasterization. So you see when it's close, it should be red. This is fine. And when we're far, because like everything is so small, it's blue. But you see there are some things which are rendered with red. And this is something what I will need to investigate. For example, this one is red because it's just using very, very big polygons. This is block out. So this is not sus. This is fine. This is a little bit like, this is already high poly, but it's still red in this area because I have been using Boolean. So this is how you can understand like something strange happening with your content. Maybe it's fine, but this is like showing you some moments like you need to investigate. You need to be sure that everything is fine. And you see like these columns, I already mentioned that they have been problematic, and we see that they're problematic on this area. So you see profiling mode is helping us to understand that it's bad. Then shading bins coming. So first we have raster bins, hardware, software. And then we have shading bins. And that's, again, something what for a lot of people are not obvious. So Nanite loves when you're using the same material on everything, because it can do it in one shading bin. And that's what very, very different from any pipeline which we have been using before. So classical pipeline, you have one mesh with one material. If they're not like, or for example, three different meshes with same materials, three same meshes with same material, and with instancing, it can be optimized and rendered like faster. So for Unreal, it can render 10 different meshes with the same material faster, because they are using the same material, because they can be rendered with one shading bin. And this is very, very crucial thing which you need to understand with Nanite. And everything, so every new material, even material instance. So material instance by default do not optimize shading bin. Shading bin completely related. It should be, it doesn't, I'm not sure, like, is it matter, like, is it master or instance? I don't think so. But yeah, Unreal, much more smarter with rendering when you're using one material on everything. So let's go to shading bin. Shading bin. So you see, and this is like a dream of shading bin. Why? I'm in my project here using as minimum amount of materials as possible. So this is all same tileable, and I'm trying to drive it by different mesh data. So I do not have anything unique. So because a lot of people, yeah, I love masking. Masking is not very good with Nanite if you're using it with classical pipeline, because it will not be in the same shading bin. It will not be fast. So you see, I'm using like my castle mostly done with like 5 main materials. It's like stone wall, it is stone surface. I have 2 types of stone surface, I think, and you see like this bluish one and grayish one. I have gold. No, this is gold. Like gold, well, bronze. This is a unique one, and you instantly see it's a separate shading bin. But you see, I really solved a lot of things with the same material, and that's great. So when I'm saying how it's solved with the same material, you see, it's like stone wall base. So that's what you want to try to push as much as possible. Because with Nanite, it's very, very efficient. This is very different from any standard pipeline. Because very often, like, yeah, more instances, it's better, like, or so just instancing is better. But with Unreal, with Nanite, it's not. It's not just instancing. You can still use different geometry, but using same material, and it will be still pretty efficient, because Unreal will be rendering this in one shading bin. Okay, so yeah, that's we covered. So not obvious problems, because like some things are very not obvious. So per pixel rendering, you can like, and this is going to discussion about like using very simple geometry but expensive materials. Again, this will, with Nanite, you are going into the wrong direction, because if you are using low poly and pushing a lot of complex materials, you are messed up, because you are not rendering just polygons, you're rendering a lot of pixels. And of course, Unreal, with all this like software hardware rasterization, it's doing a lot of smart work. But still, like my castle with simple, like with a lot of polygons on the screen, will be rendering faster than low poly castle with insanely complicated materials, and especially if they will not be done that smart from like separation, and everything will be in individual material instance. I'm sure it will be much slower. I cannot like give you a numbers, but it will be slower. Overdraw, we just talked about this, that like you need to care about overdraw because you will have expensive fizz buffer. Memory, if you when you have a lot of Nanite meshes, you will have pretty heavy collisions, and this can affect your CPU and the size of the disk. And DCC problem, we already discussed this, that content is hard to produce. Okay, so let's go to optimization of the materials. And a couple of things here you see is like use VT, use CPD, and optimize your materials. So reduce amount of unique materials we already discussed. So what is VT? VT is virtual texture, and thanks Unreal, they have two completely different things related to virtual texture. SVT, which is streamable virtual texture, and RVT, runtime virtual texture. Right now, we're talking about streamable virtual texture. So what does it mean? If you are not aware, when you're working with your content, can I mark virtual textures here? Streaming runtime virtual textures. Not here. What? No? Okay. I was sure I should have something. No, I should have Brazier. Yes. Interesting why it's not selected. So you see, we have here VT, and if I'll write here, you will see it is converted to regular texture. So what is virtual texture? Virtual texture, it's a technology how Unreal rendering virtual textures much smarter. Because classical Unreal, it's C texture, it's unloading the whole texture, it's using MIP mapping, and MIP mapping is just using the same texture, like 2K. So this is 4K. When we are far away, it will be 2K, more far away, 1K, blah, blah, blah. This, when you have big city or big landscape or anything, you're loading a lot of textures in your memory, which is not very good. So you can use virtual textures. So virtual textures, rendering them much smarter. So virtual textures, it's rendering with high resolution only on what you look. So for example, in your prop, you're taking a look here, it will be rendering this with like MIP 0, this with MIP 1, and this like with MIP 2, 3. So it's give you opportunity to save a lot of on your memory. The problem with, so virtual textures give you option to save your video memory, which is a big problem. But virtual textures are much slower. So when you're using more virtual textures, your shader should be less complicated, because texture sample as an operation pretty expensive, and that's a lot of people. So long story short, all these instructions, it's a bullshit. Like, long story short, you cannot believe into your instructions. You need to profile everything. Instructions do not give you any proper information what happening on your scene. Again, because Unreal rendering everything so smart that, yeah, it's just how it is. So when you start using virtual textures, so you see, for example, in my scene, I'm not using virtual textures everywhere, because I know that I'm pretty smart on my video memory pool. So I'm very limited on amount of tileables. So I'm using virtual textures only on my props, because props are unique. I do not want to render all my props like with full quality without any reason. I want to render them with full quality only when I'm super close. One of the examples is bridge. This is white box bridge. Are you bridge? We can use planks, of course. Yeah, I think we will use. Yeah, let's use these planks. So these planks, I assembled bridge out of it. So these planks they're pretty big, like they're 6 meters, and they live together in one big texture set, which is, as you see, 8K. And somebody can say, oh my God, like, you do not know a shit. Like, why are you using 8K? Because this is virtual texture. So Unreal rendering is pretty smart. So I can use very big planks with high resolution texture. I can assemble constructions. So for example, my this bridge, it's assembled out of this plank set. But because I'm using virtual textures, it's pretty cheap. It's rendering only like, for example, in this case, it's rendering maybe this is like with full quality, but this is like with not full quality. And for example, this iron, this is stylable texture. I want to see the stylable texture with full resolution all the time. So it's regular texture. So you see, you have to do this balancing, what you do with your textures. About CPD, we'll talk a little bit later when I'll be doing demo. It's custom primitive data, and it's pretty big part of demonstration. So what you can do with content optimization. So when you're working with your content, you need to take a look on different things. So one thing is like memory and Nanite triangles are not that important. But there are a couple of things which are affecting what's happening with your Nanite mesh. So one thing is UV channels and UV seams. So because how Nanite work for triangles, it's using all mesh data for this triangulation. So vertex paint, hard edges, UV seams, UV channels, everything making your Nanite mesh a little bit harder for proper triangulation from distance. So if you will go, so the cheapest mesh will be with one soft group without hard edges at all. So this will be the cheapest without vertex data, the cheapest. UV channel you need to use, you cannot, like, it's very hard to avoid using UV channel. You can, but hard. So when you're using a lot of hard edges, that's not good for triangulation process, and you can try. So yeah, be mindful about UV. Also, amount of UV channels. And I do not like too many UV channels. And another thing, well, kit bashing I already said, because kit bashing giving a lot of overheating. So that's, you should be mindful. Do not go crazy on amount of mesh instances. So what does it mean? So you can think about, like, Unreal is so smart. I can just assemble, and you just showing, Sergei, that like you can assemble your bridge out of planks. Like, why not to assemble everything like out of planks? Like, and the reason for that, because like you just said, like everything's so smart, like it should be rendered very smartly. It should be one shading bin. It should be one raster bin. Great, easy, light mesh, streamable. Everything is perfect, right? And you don't have draw calls. You just said it. The problem with that when you do this, Unreal have problem with amount of instances in general. So yes, CPU, GPU were not. It's not will be locking us, but just when you're using too many unique actors and even instance actors, it will mess you up. So in some cases, and this is coming with practice and your project. So in some cases, you need to use like individual pieces, but when you will try to assemble one wall out of 50 bricks, I would say you're going too much and you need to merge this into one mesh. So for example, with this bridge, I prefer to have this as a one unique mesh because I feel it will work better. I can do smart collision because this is very important for gameplay, etc. Also, collision issue. So why you, like, Sergey, you're talking about collision all the time. So why this is a problem? So when you're working, you can go here and do visualization of fallback mesh. Why it's not showing it? Okay, it's showing it, we just almost do not see this. So that's annoying. Can I do it this way? Well, this is almost fallback mesh. Will not go into detail. I was hoping it will show it a little bit better. Maybe I can show complex collision? Yes. Okay. So Unreal by default using this is fallback mesh. By default, Unreal using fallback mesh as a complex collision, and you see for some projects this can be pretty heavy complex collision. It's really heavy. And in some cases, like, it can affect your performance when you need complex collision. When you need complex collision for some VFX effects, for tracking bullets, for example, because you cannot use simple collision. So this is the moment when you need to optimize your complex collision. And for this, you can go to fallback, target, trim relative error. Let's try 4. You see? Now it's much simpler, much lighter complex collision. You need to be mindful because if you'll go like, with any complex collision, you need to be mindful because in one moment you'll start losing too much of your shape, and this can be a problem. But relative error is a way how you can control your complex collision, and do not blow up your memory because all complex collisions are, well, not complex collision, but fallback meshes. They're all loaded into your memory, and you will mess up with your memory too much if you have too many heavy meshes. So you see, it's funny. Unreal can render a lot of light collisions, but it has problem with heavy. So it can render a lot of heavy visual meshes, but it has problem with a lot of simpler but complex meshes, complex collisions. And I can show you when you see this, when you feel it. So for example, everything in my castle like super fast, like it's working pretty nice. But you see, I can bash like this guy in level instance, and when I will try to move it, oof, like frames per second just drop it. Why? Because of the collision. Like this mesh is pretty easy to move, but because of the collision, it's like because Unreal using this, I don't know why it's using complex collision even in this case. So if I will go to this level instance, I will try to minimize this fallback mesh. Believe me, I can still move this mesh pretty easily, but just because of the collision, it's so slow and heavy. Okay, so as I said, like when you're working with a mesh, I mostly like set almost everything, like check your UV channels, check your normals, check your fallback mesh, Nanite settings. Most of the Nanite settings you do not want to touch. Sometimes you want to touch trim relative error. It's like it gives you opportunity to reduce some detalization. So this is like count this as a real-time decimation of visual mesh in Nanite. And also sometimes you want to touch this max edge lens factor. So when you have, for example, plane like this, and maybe some of you had issues that like when you are from distance, it start cutting it like that. So it's like removing this part. So this is the case when you can start checking your max edge lens factor. So this is like how Unreal tessellates stuff. So in this case, you're forcing it to tessellate stuff, but in some cases it can be useful. You can reduce details, you can add details, try to play with it. So max edge lens factor is something what you want to touch. Okay, so I think we're ready to go to demo part. Dynasty, like, was there anything in the chat what I need to react, or everything is good?
I think everything's good so far.
Okay, so
Demo
let's
time.
go. Yeah, demo time. We have 20 minutes. I think it's fine. So let's go to juicy displacement. Okay, so how we can do displacement, because this is like, it was a real pain for me for all these years to find pipeline which making me happy with displacement option. And as you see, I'm trying to do everything in my scene with real geometry. It causing, and this is with what we just discussed with Unreal, is pretty efficient way to work. And somebody can say, but Nanite have displacement in Unreal, like real time. Sorry guys, Nanite real time displacement is very bad. And I will show you why. Let's go here and let's switch to Nanite triangles. Oh yeah, yay! How many triangles we have? So, and we just discussed that like when you have triangles lower than pixel, it's not good. And you see, even from distance, Nanite do not really optimize that well. And also, like when they start to optimize it, for example, in this case, you see, like it's very visible with shadows. So this is like Nanite virtual Nanite tessellation displacement. So when we're far away from it, it starts to lose shadows. Like it just does not look good. Like, can you use it? Yes, you can. There are a couple of ways how you can use it. I think like for terrain, if you have very complicated blending, you still can do it. How to do it? It's very easy. If you are using like latest Unreal 5.7, 5.8, you do not need to write any console command. It's already activated. You just need to go to your shader. You need to connect displacement, which is height. Then you need to go to your shader, write Nanite tessellation. You need to enable tessellation. Then you control your magnitude and center, and you can also control fade. Sometimes it's important. And then you go into your shader settings, not shader settings. Oh, well, I just noted that you can control this in instance. You can modify it. One important thing. So for performance, it's better, at least like what's Epic said. I haven't tested this, so do not believe me 100%. They said that magnitude is affecting your performance. So if you have very big magnitude, it's affecting performance more. So I would say it's better to have your height map a little bit more contrasty if you want to have a little bit more from displacement and have a little bit less magnitude. At least that's what they mentioned in one of the talks or two. So, but as I said, I do not like it. I don't think it's look good. I don't like that it losing volume from distance. So yeah, so this option we discussed and say this is not good enough for us. So what are other options? So Unreal give us two options how we can do a displacement. So first, you can have displacement in your module, like real displacement. I will go through it. So you just take height map, and then we go through the pipeline, how to make this seamless, because it's not very easy how to make this seamless. And also for Fortnite, they showed that they're using their own displacement module in the mesh settings, which you can find here in displacement UV maps. You can find displacement here, and that's how it looked like. And for a long time, I didn't like this method because, yeah, I just didn't like it. But it has a lot of benefits when you understand how to work with it. And there's like one thing how to make this work much better. So to make this work much better, you in reality need to do only one very, very simple thing. So I hope all understand how this is done. I mean, from the tileable perspective, that this is like our mesh today, our guinea pig is this one. This is our initial module, which is tileable texture on the left, tileable texture on the right. This is 4 meter. And also this is not mapped properly. You can map it a little bit better. So you can try to map it like that. But it doesn't really matter. So why I didn't like this method? Because you see like something very messy happening here, and because of that, when we try to use this as a tileable, it will have, well, it's not bad. It has some seams, and also because it's intersecting one another, like it's not making us super happy. And thanks a lot. I done like long time, well, half of a year ago, like video about displacement, and one person mentioned to me that like it's possible to have different displacement into one module, which is great, which fixes a lot of problems. So how we want to do this? Sorry, Dynasty, I haven't prepared proper module, so I will need to fix it in Unreal. I'm very sorry. I will have to show modeling mode in Unreal. So we go to Edit Materials, create another material slot, and select this material slot, and I will assign this material to this. So we go to selection by UV island, I think. No UV island, all connected. Okay. Not material, by angle filtering, I think should be good. Yes. Okay. Yeah, let's assign the second material just on this one. Well, and maybe on top one. Well, and maybe on bottom one, just to do everything perfect. Boom. So now we can assign second material. As I said, you can go and do it with proper mesh. I'm lazy, so I will do it here. Assign active material. So, and you see, now displacement, because like this displacement happening per material instance, and when we created second material and assign second material, it stopped displacing this area. So now this area is flat. And this is much better module. So you see, it's displaced everything in the front, it displaced everything on the back, but haven't displaced anything when we assign second material. So this is looking like almost perfectly seamless. Somebody in the chat can say, but why your normals looking so bad? And this is a very important topic to discuss. So you remember I said that normals affecting cost of the Nanite mesh, because every individual hard edge is affecting how mesh is like used in displacement. So by default, this mode have average normals. So why it's important? So not average norm. It is not recalculating normals after displacement. So you see, I have this tile gray, and you see when I assign in it, our mesh looking very strange. Why it's looking so strange? Because as I said, mesh is not recalculating normals even when it's displayed modules. So that's why it's working so good with old normal map. Because if you think about it, like when you have real displaced geometry, if you assign normal map, it should be exaggerated too much, right? Because you already have real geometry and you displace your normal effect in it too much. So that can make it look weird. But in this case, it's looking pretty good. It's not looking like terrible because it's not recalculating normals. That's why we have this mess here. So one thing which I'll recommend maybe do with these meshes, just a little bit of remeshing or support looping. Whoa, it's not look like shit now. Fantastic. So that's how you solve it. So when you remesh your mesh, because if you think about it, like, because now we do not have this classical problem here that like we have like super average normal here when like one normal was looking up and another one on the right. We have more vertices, less issues. Well, this you cannot fix sadly. But is this mesh looking good? Yes, it's looking good. It is stylable. Oh yeah, this is because we recalculated normals. Yeah, better to do it in Blender. So you see, that's funny because like we lost hard edge. So because we do not have hard edge here, now recalculate and messed it up when previously it was fine. Funny. Let's revert our change. So you can fix it properly. You just need to do more remeshing in this area and do not do this on corner area because as you see, it's breaking some of this nice normal case. So is this approach good? Yes, it's pretty powerful. It gives you a lot of flexibility. This mesh super light. So you see it's one of the most light meshes, but you are locked to your material. Like this mesh, like you have to use it with this material. You cannot use it with another material. But as I said, this mesh is really not light. And by the way, because I haven't like showed how you do the setup, it's very important. You go to displacement map, assign your displacement map, do your settings, magnitude center, and if you will just click apply, it will not change. You need to go to trim relative error and write your trim relative error because it's just how Unreal works. You will need your trim relative error pretty small, but if you go too small, your mesh will become heavier and heavier. So you need to write something between 0.2 to 0.001. So, and you balance in what you want to write here, and it will give you different detailization of this displaced mesh. And what I especially like in this displaced mesh, just take a look on this one. Like, it's doing so smart displacement, which is fantastic. As I said, a little bit limiting, but pretty good. Okay, so we don't have too much time, and we need to move on. So let's go to DCC approach, or you can do this also in Unreal, but the logic is the same. So you mapped your module, then you displace in your module with using subdivision, and you will get this. So you see we have this problem with hard that is like too offsetted. And you can try to fix it with vertex group, because like you can displace by using vertex group in Blender. You cannot do this. Well, I don't know how to do this in Maya, sorry. You can do this in Unreal if you want. In Unreal, in modeling mode, you can do this displacement. So you see, we have this. So how I solving this, because maybe they're like smarter decision, but I'm doing this way. So you see, I deleting like edge here, and also balance it. So you see, like here, I balanced my height map much better. I'm not using vertex group. And I mapped this area smarter. So if you remember, I said like we haven't mapped this area to smart compared to this mesh, you see? So here I mapped my module seamless, and now we have this fantastic transition of stone wall. You can say, but when I will be working with this module, let's use this one. You can say to me, but you will have seam here. Personally, I'm fine with that. Like, I think like the most important not to have seam on the corners. And I do not mind when I have a seam like here, like in vertical brickstone. I think it's fine. It's possible to solve it. You see, in this case, I just for showcase done this with displacement on this area. In this case, I tried to have it like smooth by using displace group. So in this case, we are not doing displacement. We're doing displacement only on this area. You see, in both cases, it's not looking completely perfect, but personally, I'm fine with that. And you see here, I deleted vertices. Why? Because when I do all the process like mirroring, apply modifiers, desummation, because mesh a little bit too heavy, then when I used all my modifiers, I'm filling the hole here. Why I'm filling the hole here? Because let me show you on the castle. Like if you will have hole in your meshes, like you see, it's happening like this happening. Like even when you assign everything properly, like believe me, you will have cases when it's not aligned perfectly, and you see we have this like nasty seams. You can cover them with meshes, but I'm feeling like from my practice, I can say I prefer to have my modules with thickness with Nanite. It's just giving you more flexibility. It's easier to work, in my opinion. So you see here, we applied Decimate and we applied weighted normal. So you see there are no hard edges here except this corner, because as you remember, we want to avoid, we want hard edge here because otherwise our models will not be aligning properly. And then last step is baking vertex color. So this mesh, I baked vertex color into ambient occlusion. I baked ambient occlusion into vertex color. Why? Because when we have, this is one opportunity which we received when we started using the Nanite meshes. Like you have a lot of data, vertex data, and you cannot uniquely vertex paint now, but why not to save vertex data for something? So you can use vertex data for baking ambient occlusion, you can bake curvature, you can bake ID masks, you can bake ID gradient or something. And if you will start checking games, more and more projects using this, because we have so many polygons. And why not to use this data? Like vertex data, not that expensive, and the Unreal Nanite Mesh saves it pretty nicely. And all my pipeline on this castle is based on vertex data. So if we will switch to vertex color, you see all my meshes has baked vertex color into them, because this is how I drive. Because as I said, everything in the scene using the same material, almost stone surface. And by using vertex data, I'm using this for blending. So you see here, vertex data in all modules used as an ID mask. So my damage is green channel, and my mortar is blue channel, and ambient occlusion baked in red channel, and curvature baked in the alpha of vertex color. I do not really like how curvature works. In some, like you can do pipeline for hard surface when you're using baked curvature. Let me show you like CPD. Oh my god, why we don't see CPD data here? Is it fine that will be a little bit longer, or should I rush?
No, you're okay, man.
Okay. So you see, I have like CPD data. We'll talk about this in a second. So you see, some curvature effect is happening. So it's not happening like completely everywhere, but I'm not happy like with quality for these assets. Maybe I messed up with pipeline a little bit, but yeah, for me, curvature haven't worked on this project. I have been doing another project when it worked, and I think Halo, a recent one on Unreal, they used baked curvature on Nanite meshes. And I think I also have seen other hard surface projects which are using this. So how you can bake vertex data? You can use vertex data baked it in Blender with geometry nodes. I'm lazy. I'm using VC Tool plugin from Blender Market, which I found. Really good job with this one. It's doing like ambient occlusion, curvature, edge wear, noise. It's problem with Blender. It's slow. Like it's really slow. That's why I'm using only ambient occlusion here. But in Unreal, you have super fast vertex color bake, which I'm using a lot. So let me show you on, for example, this mesh. Is it real geometry? Yes, this is real geometry. Not the best mesh, but for our showcase it will work. So how to bake vertex data? You go to modeling mode, you go to bake, and have bake vertex color. Also, you can do this in Houdini, but if you know how to bake vertex data in Houdini in mesh, especially using alpha channel, I don't think I need to say anything to you else. Like, you should know everything already, how to do this. You're definitely more smarter than me. Oh, Unreal, can you be faster, Bray, please? It's pretty fast, but you know, like this showcase effect when it's slow. Okay, finally. Why it's slow by default? Because by default it's calculating tangent normals, and we do not need this. I need to select simpler mesh. Give me a second. Okay, so let's go to this mesh first. This is super light mesh. Bake vertex color and just shift this to per channel. And you see you can bake curvature, height, ambient occlusion, and 0, 0. I have no idea why you want to bake height into Unreal, but whatever. And let's bake ambient occlusion and curvature. And 0, 0. So you see right now it looks like that because that's not the best example. But we have, for example, are you light mesh? Not the most light mesh. I'm looking for mesh which will not be calculating for ages. And I think this will be this mesh. So let's go to bake vertex color. You see? And now we have ambient occlusion and curvature for this mesh, which is pretty nice. Can I do visualization here? No, I can't. Okay. Well, in any case, we click accept, and now these modules have ambient occlusion in red channel and curvature in green, and this can be used as a part of your shader, and that's what I'm doing in my scene. So yeah, that's with vertex paint. And also mesh paint. Well, I guess we'll skip today. But what I want to talk with you is CPD data. So, well, we can mention mesh paint a little bit. So what is CPD and mesh data? So because we just discussed with you that like everything should be driven perfectly by one shader, like stone surface, stone wall base, stone surface B. Because of that, it means that we are very limited what we can change. It means that we can change, and it's very controversial, but like you have to change data on your mesh to make your rendering faster, which is super stupid, but that's how it is. So, and we have two tools, how to adjust data per mesh, and how to adjust data per mesh and without creating duplicate of the mesh. And this is mesh painting, which is saved in instance of your mesh. So you see mesh paint texture, which added in 5.6, as I said, or maybe 5.5, not sure. And another thing which you can do is custom primitive data. You see, in this case, I have it here. So custom primitive data, it's something what you can adjust per your mesh. So for example, here, let's go to our custom primitive data. I will show how to make it. But what I want to do, oh, yeah, I have it as a favorite. So you see, this is my mesh, and you see, we can adjust this. So this is like based on ambient occlusion, waterline grunge. And you see, I can modify this on this shader. I can modify it on this shader. There's not a lot of tweaks right now because I haven't went on this project too deep into this. I will be adjusting my shader later. It's just like the core functionality right now. So for example, in this case, it's waterline modification. So how you do this? So if you want to create a custom primitive data for your object, so let's go to our material. So this is my shader here. You see, not the most complicated, not the most simple one. So if you want to adjust any parameter, so you see it's looking like that, curvature effect multiplier. So you create a parameter. So let's create a static thing. Let's call it 1, not important, convert to parameter. And let's call it like base color. I do not want to I don't want to adjust my shader because the whole scene will mess up. So I will not be compiling this, but I want to show the whole logic. So you have it here, and then you go to use custom primitive data. And custom primitive data is waiting for index. This is not like UI of custom primitive data can be better, in my opinion. So you need to remember your individual indexes for everything. And it's in perfect situation, you also want to align this similar way for different material. Because imagine that you have a mesh and has 3 different materials. And in these 3 different materials, each custom primitive data is different. It will be a mess because you modifying not a name of index, but index number. So in this case, we can say it's 7 because we have already index 6. And when I will save it, so you see, I will not use it right now, as I said. When you will save it, it will be in your list of custom primitive data here. So let me add new mesh just for you to understand how you add in custom primitive data. So you have a mesh, you see right now it has like this list, but nothing happening. And I go here and say like add custom primitive data. So you see now it's on default values. We can modify it. And as I said, we also have mesh painting. So what is mesh painting? Mesh paint is unique virtual texture per your mesh, per your static mesh, which you can modify. And by default, it's not activated. So you need to go and add mesh paint texture. You see by default right now, everything is removed because by default it was 1. And when I'm adding, it's 0. And you can do your old school vertex painting almost. So you see, now you can paint your module. So you see, and why it's great. So it's almost like old vertex color, which is great, but it's saved into small virtual texture, which is saved in memory. So you cannot like download it. You see, it's like it's relate. So it doesn't have, you see, like a folder or anything. It's just related to your module. And because it's virtual texture, it's very, very smart on rendering. So you see, I have 2 dirt layers. One which is affected by ambient occlusion, and the other is not. And then I have blue channel. You see, it's like this kind of dirt. And I can go to my custom primitive data now. So you see they can be used together. And you see I have this offset leak. And I can do this. And this is like mostly how I will be doing texturing on these modules. And you see I also have, I have control of the title. But yeah, also if you're interested, like you can control this. And as I said, what's the most interesting about everything what's happening with this one, it's all still one shading bin. So this is fast. So even that you add in modification, you're not breaking instancing. Well, instancing you're kind of breaking, but you are not breaking your shading bin optimized rendering. So you have a lot of these meshes, always this option, and it will be still be smart. So how you do shading bin, like, or not shading bin, sorry, like too long talking. How you add in mesh painting? It's pretty simple. So you go to, well, in reality it's not. So you have a couple of nodes which called mesh painting. If you write, you see we have like 3 mesh painting things. So you have coordinate index, object, and replace. We're interested mostly in this one, mesh paint texture object. And then you need texture sample. So if you understand that it's using texture sample, it means it's not free. And mostly you connect it like that. So you connect it like which channel to use. Text coord 1. And tada, this is the whole setup. And also you can use texture replace. So what texture replace, mesh painting texture replace will do? Paint replace, mesh paint texture replace. So you can say like, when we are using mesh paint texture, use mesh paint texture. But if we are not using mesh paint texture, use maybe one, or maybe it's baked mask. Up to you what you want to do. I'm not using this too often, but sometimes it's useful. So, and let me show you how this is set up in my scene. So you see I have like this blending. So you see mesh painted texture object. I'm separating this in different channels, like mesh painted alpha, mesh paint green. Alpha I'm not using currently. And then red part going here. So you see I have like replace of mesh painting. And then I have my baked ambient occlusion, which I can modify a little bit. And then by custom primitive data on mesh, I'm modifying it. So nothing too complicated, not the most simple setup, but not really that complicated in reality. One problem with mesh painting is that you need to set up also mesh painting in your mesh. You cannot do it only in your shader. And that's why old vertex color was better. So you need to go to your mesh and use mesh paint coordinate texture index 1 if you want one, and your resolution. So for example, this is a good example. For this module, this resolution, which is 64, a little bit too low. So if I want my resolution for mask to be 128 or 256, I can do this. I will do this later when I'll be done with all these modules, because, yeah, right now it's not important. But and also problem of mesh painting, you need second UV channel. Like it's almost like, so the pipeline very similar to masking, but it's better than masking because you're doing this in engine and it's more optimized. And it's also part of the mesh and not part of your shader, so it's rendering faster. Is it flexible? Is it great pipeline? No, compared to old vertex painting. Old vertex painting was great, but this is the best what we can take right now in Unreal 5 for the variation of your blending. Oof, that's, I think we're slightly and slowly going to the end. Let me reload this mesh because I don't want to mess up with all my scene. Boom. Boom. Yes. Some useful command. I mentioned this one. Visualization advanced. You have seen I used it. This one, show draw events and emit mesh in this one. This will give you opportunity to check milliseconds of your Nanite materials. Because if you will use right now Control-Shift, for profiling, you will not see your materials here. You see, it's not possible to find your materials. Scene, because that's how you. Yes, it's not completely true. Yeah, you see base pass, Nanite pass. It's impossible to see materials. You see, it's not right in them. With these commands, which I showed to you, it will be possible to see which exactly material taken which amount of time. So I don't want to showcase it. Who interested, you will do it yourself. Who are not interested, I don't want you to suffer. You already suffer and listening for so much technical information today. Links. This is to this article from Nihil Mayura. He's mentioning a lot of things which I'm mentioning and doing pretty good job with that. Very good link, a lot of good moments mentioned. I mentioned part of it, not all, but also mentioned something extra. So it's not copy of this one, but there are some things, very good articles, so can recommend this one. Man, I think we're done.
That's wild, man.
I was promising you like a big talk.
Yeah. Yeah. We can definitely, I don't know if you want to paste that link anywhere. I can get it out to everyone as well. It'll be in the description of the video also when it goes on YouTube.
Yeah. Should I drop it in Twitch? Can I?
Yeah, that works. But yeah, dude, that was really. I don't think we need to share our cameras because we only have a few questions. 2 of them are mine, and then we have one other one. The one from Sammy is just saying like, I'm wondering after baking the AO and curvature in the vertex color, what is the node that you use to reference it in the shader? Which I think is just the vertex color.
Yeah, you just
but yeah.
using vertex color, and that's all because it's part of your shader. And if you go to my material setup, I'm still sharing, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
So
it's
I
really
should
cool,
not
man.
open.
There's some interesting things I learned in there as well.
Yeah, it's very let's call it like it's changing a lot of approaches. Like it's not that obvious what really changed, right? And you understand like all possibilities which you can do. And I haven't showed a lot of stuff today. Like I haven't showed like merging of modular kit, so you can do this with modular kit. So let's jump to my shader. So you see here I'm using not here, here. Yeah. So I even done that I can use like baked mask. I am not using this in the end, but I done. So you see I have vertex color and my red channel, just I created a portal node AO and my alpha I created portal node curvature. And that's how I use it. And that's all. So it's very straightforward usage.
Yeah. Dude, nice. And then the how are you debugging your vertex colors when you're in Unreal? Like if you need to see like because I think you visualized vertex color. It's just
Yeah,
a buffer, yeah.
this is only like with this cheat code command, like which you showed.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Like it makes zero sense. Like why this is in Nanite visualization? So you need to activate Nanite visualization advanced, and when you activate it in Nanite window, which makes zero sense, as I said, you can see vertex color and mesh painting color. So you can visualize your vertex color, and you can visualize your mesh paint texture. So you can check them both here, but they activated only by cheat code command. So yeah, Chimax times, like who remembers this?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I mean, that's a lot of stuff is hidden in commands like that.
Yeah, it just makes zero sense to have it there. It's make no sense that it's like under command, and it makes zero sense that it's like in the night visualization, not like buffer visualization, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, the other thing was like, so there's a question about it would be, well, it's not even a question. It'd be nice if we could see how the modules of the castle scene are done. Because I know you're doing a lot of those in ZBrush and you're even mixing them together, right?
Yeah. That will be later when I will be one day I will be done with this castle and it will be very big breakdown. Also, sometimes I'm streaming. Maybe like during summer I will stream at least like once on Twitch. So if you're interested, like I have on Russian language YouTube and I'm streaming regularly on Russian. And if you want to listen me on English, I have Twitch. Sometimes, very rare, I stream. So yeah. So you have option to check. I have modules like if you're interested in modules, you can just go to my YouTube and check. Like you don't really need like, and also with real-time subtitles right now, you can even understand what I'm talking about.
It's true. It's actually gotten pretty good. No, I think I watched you. I think it's a while back now, but it was with the castle, and you were in. I think you were on X. I think you were on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I saw that you were layering geometry for vertex color inside of ZBrush.
Yeah, because I found this one of the most flexible solution, because I think the only proper solution is Houdini, and I'm not smart enough to do this setup in Houdini. I know what I want, but it's very complicated shit. So I want to have like an influence from. So I do not want to paint in Houdini. I want to have like paint influence in Houdini, if you understand what I mean. Because if I will be blending height map, it will look like shit. And I need to have like this influence effect. So for example, this like on top of this one, which is pretty complicated. So you need some kind of like proxy mesh on which you're painting. Then you transfer this data to your displacement, and it should like do it pretty smartly. Which it's not that simple.
Right, dude, wild. Yeah, and then the only other thing. So this was more of me. Is there a reason that you don't set the mesh? Was it the mesh paint texture resolution in the project defaults?
Because I'm stupid. Well, no. There is a reason. I'm trying to be optimized. Like because by default it's 64 by 64, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I think this is good starting point for pretty a lot of things, because mesh painting should not be your final quality, right? And I think like 64 by 64 pretty good. Like for example, 2-meter module. I think you can get, because this is also like streamable virtual textures. Like it somehow hold up pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I push it. So mostly because I think it's good to have your project by default optimized. But I think like 256 maybe will be the sweet spot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the other thing you can do is tile like a texture inside of it, like a mask texture, to
Yes, that's
add
what I'm
more
doing.
resolution into it. Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like you are, because there's more detail than just what the mesh texture or even the vertex paint is doing.
The only area where I'm pushing mesh painting to the limit is like this one. So you see, I'm used like stencil. So I
Yeah.
have like a stencil, and I push this to be like proper mask, like with proper, and it's still overlaid by height map of this one. So I have like
Yeah.
this a little bit more shaped on the stone.
Dude, that's crazy. There's one other question that I think is being typed, but I'll confirm with Jamie if she's writing it still, or if she's like, I got my answer, or is scared to hold us longer or something. We'll see. But dude, the scene is crazy. She says she's good.
Opened the scenes. So
oh yeah,
let's go.
Let's check out the environment.
Yeah, because
How warm is it where you're at right now?
No, it's good, right?
Yeah?
Because
Okay.
like well, it's still right in plus 30, so does not sound that good, but so, and let's activate outside world. Like I have seen like amount of layers which you had in the current project with people, like it's crazy how you manage this. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
like
kind of
when
wild.
like 5 levels. That's my limit.
Yeah, levels are really good for lighting differences and and like you're saying, the outside area, like the backdrop.
I hate data layers. Like they're awful. So because they're awful. Like
yeah. Oh yeah, that's looking real nice,
yeah.
man.
And if anyone will complain right now, but your frames per second going low, like this is foliage. Like that's why I have outside.
Yeah.
Like foliage. Foliage is unfixable. Like my castle is perfect. Like this is all foliage. I will do a pass on foliage, but I'm not going to be doing foliage myself because I want to finish this scene at least in 2 years.
Yeah. I know your struggle. But yeah, it's so with the foliage stuff, I guess it's because it's not using like geometry.
Yeah, it's VPO like it's because I really like this pack from Mavi, Redwood pack, and it's really good. And also like Jungle pack. I don't know who done it. Like there are two very good. Like I really like the shapes, but they done with old tech, and you need to revisit a lot of the stuff. Also because I have like there's just a mix of everything. Like, but I would say the biggest problem is foliage. Also like PCG not the fastest because it's not baked. It's still real time. So it's recalculating it still.
Oh,
so
the whole time.
Well, when you move it every time,
Yeah.
right? It's like I think it's caching, but you can bake PCG, and I think it will be much. So yeah, it just needs some optimization.
Right. Dude, cool. Yeah, we're like, man, that looks sick, and all that detail in the towers and stuff. And then the render is like way back here.
Yeah.
I know you have a bunch of different renders, but I find it funny. It's the nature of what we do. Oh yeah, that looks dope.
Yeah, this is like the shot, and I was showing this to Dynasty. So I intentionally do not want to get rid of this shot because it's so cool to compare it to this one, and I have like that's exactly same shot. Yay!
Dude, I remember this. Yeah.
Improvement.
Oh, it's huge,
a little
man.
bit.
I mean, you learn things as you go. Like time just, if you stay curious, it all happens.
The only thing I'm happy that like they stopped getting giving big features for Unreal, so I can finally have a pipeline. So I have done some mistakes in pipeline feel like for example, like I'm feeling like in 2 years it was easier to learn Houdini and do the tool in Houdini. So but with Houdini Also, it's a lie. Like you're saying, like I will learn Houdini in 2 years. No, no, you will need more.
I mean, if you know Houdini enough, you can take the foliage that you really like and convert it to mesh correctly. It's doable.
So yeah,
really cool, man. Thank you for taking the time to answer our questions and to show us like the amount of knowledge that you've been able to acquire while building out this. Do you want to call it a remake? This like
yeah,
your remake. Dude, it looks dope, and I like
No,
the
but now-
changes you've
now-
made
now-
to it on the
yeah.
tops
Now,
of
now
the
I understand
tower.
why I struggled so much with the presentation, because I was like, no, I will be showing this. Like it's impossible to get this all in slides.
Yeah. Too crazy. Okay, do you have anything else you want to say before we?
No, it was nice. Like I wish you all like make cool stuff. Please, stop breaking the night. Stop doing stupid shit. Please,
Oh
it's not
man.
that bad. Stop saying like triangles are bad. Like I will go into your nightmares and I'll be showing you this, and like you'll be it's triangles. Like yeah, just do it properly and it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Like
awesome.
as I said, like this, like each individual module here, like at least like 100,000 of polygons, and you see it working. Like it's only breaking because of the foliage, which is much later.
Oh, we have one good question right here. Not that the other questions were bad, but would you say it's beneficial to show this sort of stuff in your portfolio?
Which exactly? Which sort?
Like
of
just
stuff?
I guess content that is authored to this level.
I would say so. Like, how many people, like, jokes aside, I'm feeling like doing proper Nanite content, one of the biggest struggle right now in the industry, because you need to do so. There are only 2 ways how you can do this. You can be or Nanite master or ZBrush master, or maybe Substance Designer master, right? You need to do this on so high level of execution. It's so time consuming. Like, I don't know how do you feel like, but I feel like right now making proper content, it's really hard. Like it's really hard.
Oh, dude, it's a lot of technical steps. And I mean, all the stuff that you were showing, and then a whole menu that's hidden behind a command line. And there's a lot there that you have to understand. Like I did not know about the material assigning in order to separate displacement. That helps.
I also haven't,
like a lot.
That's why I'm showing on YouTube. Like it was random comment on YouTube, which man, I just love this person. Like it's changed my life.
Yeah. Yeah, because whenever you have UV seams or hard edges, the displacement will separate the geometry, right?
Yeah.
If you do it through the material. So it's like doing it inside of like Blender, for example, or to the mesh directly, and then being able to mask it. That helps immensely.
Yeah, it helps really a lot. Like the only thing which I'm missing is that you cannot bake vertex data in this mesh. I don't know why is it done in this way, but if it will be possible to bake vertex data in this mesh after this displacement, it will be golden. Otherwise, this is the only reason why I'm not using it more.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because like how Unreal works, I don't know why. So it's first. So when you're trying to bake vertex data in this module, it's giving you module before displacement. So you're like kind of modifying the source, and the source is
the source is really low. Yeah.
Which sucks.
Yeah, I mean
because
that makes it
will be very
pointless.
cool to bake into.
Man. Cool. Well, thanks a lot, dude.
Thank you for inviting. I think you have done very good job with a lot of talks, a lot of useful one, very good community. Sadly, I cannot like participate too much, mostly because I'm managing mine and.
Yeah, no, it's no worries, man.
It'll be nice, like to interact more. But sometimes I need to work. I need to deliver something.
I totally get you, man. But all right, I guess we'll call it there. Thank you again.
Have a good evening, man.
Yeah, you too. All right, I'll see you guys later as well.
See ya.